So that's the kind of stuff that goes on. Does pavement make them go faster? Not really. They're going fast now. They don't care. Just trying to make it safer. I'm trying to make it so it's more maintained, easier.
What costs a lot of money to run a grader up a road twice, 3 times a year? Some of them 3 this year, right?
Speaking of which, how is the grader?
Had a bad spell today, but it seems to be alright.
Yeah. We're,
So-
we're nursing it along. You know, I mean.
So
we're
it hasn't detonated yet?
No,
No.
has not detonated
Not
yet.
yet.
You still have the other one.
Yeah, right now. I mean,
How many months is that?
be the
Going
third
on
month.
3?
Yep. And we're just, you know, we're in the same position you guys were. It rained, it rained, it rained. Now all of a sudden it's dry, so we're trying to get things done as quick as we can, you know. And, you know, when you're taking care of 65 mile of gravel road, that's what you get.
And we kinda gotta baby that. I mean, we can't hound that machine, right?
Right.
So we kinda gotta have to back up.
Yeah. Yep, and that, you know, it's, I know it's not cheap, but
And there's gotta be something figured out here, I'm sorry. I appreciate the guys taking the 4th of July week off. I'm not against that, that's a good venture. But we are paying
No,
over
you
top,
took it off the rental.
took it off the rental, so they're gonna
It's
let us
off the
have it
rental.
for that extra week then. Okay,
Yep, it's off the rental. Yep, we call them, we ask them, we rent so much stuff from them guys that
okay.
they give us a lot of leeway. In fact, I was in there the other day picking up some parts, and Jeff there, the main guy, says, you know, it's off, you know, appreciates us, what we're doing, and, you know, they always seem to return the favors back, so.
Okay, well, we just gotta keep track of that and make sure we get our
Yep.
hours worth.
Or, you know, we had talked about putting a couple guys on for that week, but it's not fair to
No,
those guys.
I'm not saying, I think it's a great thing, shutting down for that week, I'm not against that at all. I think that's not a bad policy, you know, as long as everybody agrees to it, fine. It's just, you know, as long as we're not paying rent on all this equipment, you know, while we shut down, that's my concern. Okay. Anything else, Mike?
Basically, no. The only question I have, what was standard work day of practice?
The
For
resolution.
retirement.
Retirement.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah, I was just like, I apologize, I wasn't here last month, but, June is a tough month.
Busy. Okay. Now, you got us invoices and stuff from Chad, Paul?
Yeah, they're in there.
They're in there,
Yeah, we
okay.
signed them.
And I've been talking with Terry from Extension, and I called him yesterday, and told him that we have the invoices and stuff at the town board meeting. And he said, I got the fax number here, fax them to him, attention Terry, and he'll get them put into the program, and hopefully we can get that $5,000.
Yeah, just give me the fax
Additional grant.
number.
Now,
Chad's gotta have some information from us too, to get the rebates. The rebates will be mailed directly to us, but we have to,
okay,
he gave me a list of stuff that we have to,
okay.
Yeah,
Those are
that's
on the
what-
retrofits, right?
I
I
assume,
think those are on the retrofits that were in there.
Yeah,
Nice.
yeah.
He said those were the bigger rebates, these are the ones that offered the rebates.
And probably ought to, I don't know, these are all the same, basically, same size. They've got some 2x2s in the offices, which are really neat, and they're all out here, right?
yeah, they're all the same size as what came out.
Right,
These were a 4-bulb fixture, and then these 2 offices have 2-bulb fixtures. So it's the same wattage equivalent,
right.
but for the
Instead of-
LEDs for the 2-bulb, they only needed a 2x2
right,
versus
instead
a
of
2x4.
Right.
So, but it's all the same equivalency. Because that, to get the grant, it's gotta be whatever you took out, that's what you put in equivalency wise. So.
Right. And the ladies at the primary were satisfied, quite happy with the new light, outside lighting
Seems
and
more
the inside
bright,
lighting.
seems bright outside
Yeah.
at night.
Yeah.
It's nice
Yeah, when
having
we
it go
drive
that
by.
way, but
Right.
there's a little too much light out front. Lights up the neighborhood pretty good.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Been a couple complaints.
No worries.
Yeah.
Well, they're the same equivalency, so.
It's brighter when I can see it.
Oh, they
from
are
the hou-
brighter.
When I
Oh,
can see
yeah,
it from
they-
the house.
Right. Well, that's good.
Better quality.
Well, that's good that
Oh, it
way,
is.
because that shouldn't affect anybody.
Yeah, well, that out there needed to be done.
Right,
It's
right,
nice.
that needed lighting.
The election night,
You
that was
know,
like.
and I think over the door, I talked to Chad, we ought to replace one over the door too that isn't very bright. Now, that'll just go down anyway, that won't be out.
And that's,
I think
the
that
ones
one's
out front,
already LED, isn't
Oh,
it?
really?
I think so.
Could be.
the ones
I don't
out
know.
front
I think
would
there's
be all right
cobwebs
if
that
it
need to be
was
cleaned
down
out.
instead of out. You know, that style of light just
Think
puts out so
They
much
gotta
light.
come to the board meeting, let them complain to the board, right guys? But no, I mean, that's first I'd heard that, but, you know, too bright is bright, not a good thing either, but. We'll try to work out. But that's where that is going right now, I'm hoping we can,
That's to qualify for that other $5,000 grant.
right, to qualify for the $5,000.
I was gonna ask about that, you got me.
Yep, that's the only, that will qualify us for the big one, but there's none available.
Right,
So this is a new one that the state has come out with an additional $5,000 mini grants or whatever. If you qualify for the big one and weren't in line for it, this is a supplementary, just a tease to, you know, pacify you, I guess. Pardon?
Consolation.
Consolation prize, I guess, yeah. Yep, but I guess there was that much interest that they thought they had to do something. Just think, that appeases 5 or 10 towns instead of 1 town. So Band-Aid on a couple more ground, how's that? But yes, I guess everybody in the shop loves the new lighting and everything too. That's good,
Yeah, seems to be real nice.
good.
If you have the trucks out of the shop bays, one row of lights puts off more than the other 3 did altogether.
Really? Okay. Good.
Quite nice.
And we did have a discussion, a meeting with Dwight and I, and Paul was there, about the phone system. Really,
And
Yeah.
Gary
Gary and Jan
was there.
Schleifer from the
They're awesome.
courts. And it was interesting. It's got some work to be done, I guess, or look into or whatever. So, it was good information, just didn't seem to work out at that time. And maybe we will try it here, I don't know if we can or not, we gotta get some more figures and this and that together for the phone system. And don't get discouraged, Dwight.
Oh, I'm not discouraged. I'll tell you what discourages me is paying almost $700 a month for phones, that's all.
$690, right?
Yeah, it's like 670, something like that, but anyway,
Right, well, I'm hoping,
I think we all
Delhi
are, yeah.
Telephone Company may make this a possible venture.
So are they doing something? Because I'm not aware.
I haven't
Have you
talked
spoken
to
to them?
Jason, I haven't spoken to him, no, I haven't. No, I've
Okay.
I
got-
think they're waiting on electricity.
Yeah, but has anybody spoken to about what it's gonna cost?
He said whatever we had, they would beat.
Beat what?
Frontier.
Oh, Frontier, okay, so they beat the
Well,
670.
now, to be fair, Dwight, these prices that we ended up with weren't that much cheaper, $50 a month
No,
cheaper.
they kept it inching up.
Yeah,
So,
They kept that
let's
inching
be
up.
fair, I think
No.
Delhi can compete
Right.
with Vonage.
Oh, I'm sure they can, but I
No.
guess what I need to know,
Right.
you know, what to tell them when they call me. In other words, is it gonna be 4 lines, 6 lines, 10 lines? Because that's the way it went
I've
up
got
during the
Jason's
discussion.
phone
It
number
went up
at home.
dramatically.
Well, that's
Or-
gonna depend on whether it's just coming to this building, which I think it
No,
is.
Well,
'Cause
yeah.
They're not hooking the village up right away, I don't believe.
Well, I don't know, maybe you know something I don't
Well,
know.
they gotta be coming through. I don't know, I don't either.
Yeah.
But the best thing to do is get a hold of Mr. Miller, I think is the manager up there, and Jason.
We just need to,
Watershed.
we need to know, you know, what it is that everybody's gotta have to do their job. So that somebody's not talking to Vonage and saying 4, somebody's talking to somebody else and they say 11 or 12 or 14.
Right, but the
whatever.
big thing
So
is
we
the
know.
internet connection. If we can not have to pay Frontier for the internet connection and get it free from Delhi Telephone Company, which was one of the
That's a
things
given.
they said, that's gonna make the difference in the phone cost. So that's what we've gotta get down to is when this, when NICEAG, they did, took them how many days to put up 4 poles? They were here and got 2 and then they came
Yeah,
back.
you gotta remember, they had one crew on for like 2 straight weeks, and so these guys just showed up, put in, and then when they had service
Something
down
else.
or something, away they went, so that's why it took them so long.
Okay.
Because the 2 guys that were working, goes, we're the only ones on today between Hamden and Honeyon, so.
Yeah.
Right, the free internet's the free internet, so that doesn't
Right.
make any difference.
Right,
Okay, what they're talking about is the service, the phone service on top of the internet.
right.
So now we're not gonna get charged for internet, as far as I understand, unless somebody knows something that I'm not aware of.
I understood the internet would be free. That's what I
Right,
understood.
so
too.
the difference is, or not,
Right,
what it costs for Advantage versus others.
Right.
And it doesn't matter to me, again, I'm just
Right.
looking at bottom line,
Right.
right now, we're paying
But you're-
almost $700.
but you're right, Dwight, I mean, the phone bill is crazy. But once we talked, and well, you need a line for this, you need a line for that,
Well,
you need
we
another
need-
line.
yeah.
And they said, oh, you only get 4 that are cheap, and then
Right.
they threw,
Yeah. Well, we
higher
need to know
numbers.
that before we have a meeting.
Yes, we do.
That's what we need to do,
Right,
so,
right.
we're not
and they
wasting our
they
time.
blindsided us
Right.
on
Well,
that. So this is,
No,
well, I mean, you didn't,
I didn't know the numbers, and they
Right.
kept gradually going up because
Right.
of stuff people have to have, stuff they don't have to have, et
Court's
cetera, et
gotta
cetera.
have 2 or
Some
3
people
phone
don't like
lines and-
computers, some people don't like this and that, whatever. And that's really not germane to the conversation at all. If we go into it and we know what we need, then we can compare apples to apples. But when we go in and we say 4, because that's what I was told before, 4 or 6,
Right.
and then it goes up to 12 or 14 or 18 lines, whatever, which it did in the discussion, then yeah, you're right. That's not a
well,
good
probably
meeting.
the best thing to do is, instead of getting out of the area people involved at this time, would it be smart to talk to Delhi Telephone? What would you offer us when the service was available? How would you set it up? Just to have,
That'd be
I mean,
great.
and that would be, and that would be a local person, which I like local much better than, and just to get us an idea of what they would offer, what they could do, what we would
We have to
need.
know what we want.
Well,
We
that
have to
too.
tell them what we want. They're
Right.
not gonna come in and say you need 12 lines or
Right.
5 lines.
Well, we've
We have
got,
to make that decision before
2
we sit down
lines.
and talk about it, because otherwise, it's a waste of time. It's a silly discussion because,
Well,
Yeah,
one
the
of the
security
problem
of
with
it,
that is,
What's
The
that?
security end of it that was mentioned is irrelevant.
Yeah.
I talked to Carl Fox, the lieutenant over at the sheriff's office. Also, I talked to a lady up at the Unified Court System, and they said it doesn't matter if you have voice over internet or you have a phone line or what you have. The firewalls are set up within those systems, protect those systems, no matter what your service is. The firewalls are designed within the program business part of it.
That's pretty much what the guy from
I
Bonnet
don't
said
think we'll
too.
do
Right, but that's not what they were saying up there.
I-
Okay, so that just complicates the discussion.
Oh, you did?
We gotta know what we want, and then we can present it. Again, my only input is the fact that we're talking $670 a month.
right.
That's where, and I don't care if it's Vonage or if it's the man in the moon stuff. I mean,
I think any of us, if we could get our phone bill in
Oh,
half
yeah.
at home, would be on board.
It wouldn't even have to be cut in half. A savings is a savings, in service.
As long as the service is adequate, if you can cut it down.
well, you get what you pay for. Remember that. So
Yeah,
if you cut the thing
You
5
don't
to
think
10.
you ever get milked, because you do.
Right, well, I know
And
that.
they're getting comfortable, there's no competition.
But if you think you're gonna go in there and you're gonna save $5, a savings is a saving, what Jeff was saying, and you get some crap line that you can't talk on to, did we save anything?
That's the point I said though. If you're gonna cut your phone bill in half and the service is the same, you're telling me you wouldn't do that for your house?
Oh, I would do that,
You betcha.
absolutely. But I'm
And that's why it
saying,
should
if
be
you're
looked
only gonna
into.
cut a few bucks here or there, and we gotta have hand lines or lines hooked to our phone and stuff like that, let's get out of the dark ages, let's get in here.
Well, that's what we need to know.
Well, it wasn't so
That's-
awfully
that-
long ago,
that's
I don't
we
know
need
what
to
you're
know.
worrying about, because not so long ago, there was a corded line out there in the shop.
It's still there.
Point
Because,
being,
because once in a while, it does drop out, but we don't use that, only in emergency type thing.
I think
Because when the power goes
Mark-
out, we're screwed off from our lines anyways.
Mark, I think the thing is that the town of Franklin, yes, we have Frontier, but paying $670 a month for phone service
Yeah,
doesn't make any sense.
I understand
And
that,
that-
but
well,
you know
that's-
used to pay a
that's-
lot more than that? Do you know why
Believe
it's
me.
cheaper now?
Yeah,
Why it's cheaper now than it used to be? And myself, every one of us has a cell phone, so most of the phone calls.
Mark,
that
I
come out here-
had a business in the town of Franklin for 18 years, okay? Right down there by the dam. I know what Frontier costs and what phones cost.
Absolutely.
All I'm saying is that there are systems that are available now that could save us a considerable amount of money and a service,
I know.
as far as I understand, but I don't think you're gonna get anybody who's gonna walk out there and say, okay, Mark, you're guaranteed it's never gonna break. You're guaranteed it's
Right.
always gonna be 100%, because I'm not gonna say that. Anytime you talk about technology, it's gonna break.
So, just so you know,
that's it.
I have no ties to Frontier.
Me
I don't
neither.
care. My phone line at my house has been down for 3 weeks.
There you go.
So I'm not real happy
Yeah.
about that neither. But I'm
Right.
just telling you
Yeah,
that if you're gonna save $5 and we're gonna get some system that doesn't work,
Yeah.
we didn't save nothing.
yeah. No, I don't
Okay?
think anybody's saying
That's
that.
my point.
Well, we could
Yeah.
say 3-week service, Mark, you haven't had service 3 weeks.
Yeah, well,
We don't
the
get
bill
service
still
from
keeps
Frontier.
coming.
Yes, it does.
I-
The biggest problem in this town, and we might as well just, we're beating this to death too, is Frontier's service
It's terrible.
and the
It's
cost
terrible.
of it.
It's
Absolutely.
not good.
Oh,
But
I
that's
know
what-
it is.
all I'm saying
it's-
is that when we have these meetings, we have to have all the cards on the table.
Yeah.
Everybody
Know how
needs
many lines
something,
and what
how
we
many
need.
lines we need,
Yes.
et cetera, because
Yes.
I'm not complaining about the time I spent on the phone with these guys and everything
No,
else.
absolutely.
But what I'm telling them was not what we were telling them at this meeting. So it's like, wait a minute, if we're gonna have these meetings, then we gotta know what we need and what we want.
What the
Or
what-
not, and not have somebody making decisions or creating some kind of whatever in the background and then bringing it to the meeting, and then they're going like, well, wait a minute, Dwight, you didn't say this to us. And I didn't, you know, because it was a totally different deal when we got there, and we basically just
The
hung it
biggest,
up.
the biggest problem we have is 2 facilities. The one in the village, which then the court system is more confusing.
Doesn't
I
make any
think-
difference.
Yeah, with Vonage,
Doesn't make
actually,
any
2
difference.
facilities made absolutely no
It doesn't.
difference with Vonage.
Right.
With
They had-
any of them.
The issue was with the people up that way that came to the meeting. That was the issue.
I wasn't there.
But
Just saying.
let's not bring in, and it just my opinion, again, I'm not,
Right.
but let's not get too focused on the word computer and internet, because I understand that scares a lot of people. I'm not trying to sell any, again, I look at 670 and said compared to any other town in Delaware County, we're paying a lot more.
Right.
And so it's not like you gotta pick up a computer screen and to make a phone call. I mean, you pick a phone up and you call, and that's all there is, but it's not perfect. You're right there. It's gonna break down sometimes. Security-wise,
Yep.
it's pretty
it's
good.
a security.
Well, comparable.
The
They're all
security, the security is a big thing with us, I mean, probably especially with him doing what he's doing, and not that I'm worried about it, what I'm doing on the computer, you know, it's just
Right,
road
right.
stuff, but.
But those
Security-
security things are built into the system, there's nothing to do with.
And they are, and they do work good. Once in a while, I have an issue with some stuff going down, and we have to reset modems here once in a while and stuff too.
Technology's not perfect.
Yeah.
And so, again, just speaking for myself, I don't think anybody, we review this stuff, but we have to understand that things can break. So it's not your fault, you can't be going at it that way. I think the way to go at it is $670 a month is too much. And it's not gonna be perfect, but it's pretty darn good. And I know there are other townships within the county that use it. I believe the health department does, and I'm not sure, but I think maybe the sheriff department does.
Yes, the
Using
sheriff.
one.
I think the
Yes.
entire county is voice over internet. I do believe the entire county is.
But who are they with?
I imagine Delhi Telephone, because
Okay.
they're in Delhi.
Yes, Roger.
Did the town send a letter to the FCC or contact the Congress won't do something about, no, seriously, because
We did.
during a
We've
person
done
in
that.
this town that would not complain
Been
about
done.
It's,
Yes, there were letters sent from Seward, I know,
don't be calling that, I don't
I
care.
think Crouch. I mean, it was concerned, the letter, and they sent letters to the Frontier and stuff. The problem is, they've gone from 3, 4, 5 servicemen down to 1, basically. I guess there's 2 in the area now.
If you really want to irritate them people, go to the public service. That's who you gotta go after.
Not if it's internet,
Huh?
not if it's internet.
Really.
But that's only wired, like telephone lines that are strung or buried. Otherwise, the Public Service Commission, the first thing they ask you is this internet-based or is this hardwired?
We're hardwired.
And right now through Frontier, we're hardwired, so Public Service Commission in New York can do something about it. Otherwise, it goes to the FCC. And so, and in addition to that, you're probably aware of this, Frontier is not a local company, okay? They're centered in Pennsylvania or out in Minnesota. I'm not sure which, but the bottom line is they're not centered in the state of New York.
Yeah, they used to be in
Okay.
Maryland, but then they
Yeah,
moved.
Maryland used to be.
So
It used to be big.
it's not,
Because
it's not
they're
centered.
buying up all the AT&T's hardline stuff right
Yeah,
now.
yeah. So it's a
They're not
very
small company.
frustrating deal, but
Well, we've got to
we're gonna
do
do it.
better,
Gotta be
I guess,
organized.
be more organized on it, Dwight. As you said, you didn't have an idea what the court needed, and neither
No
did I.
idea that anybody
I don't
was
think
gonna
Paul
even be
did.
there.
No, I told Dwight that I had no idea what was up there.
No.
No, but we did say also that, as far as Jim goes, that he says everybody he knows drops vonage, which is fine. But he needs to be, that would have been a helpful bit of information
Right, to
to
know.
have him there rather than just,
Yeah.
because it just adds to the confusion. It
Right,
does
and you need the
nothing.
code officer, and you need the town clerk,
That's right. And so I.
and the tax collector, and the registrar.
That's right. So, again, just in fairness, if people are concerned about, what the heck is that? Technology. If people have and they should. I mean, if I was here, with the town, in the town barns and I needed a phone, I'd want to make darn sure that it was probably going to work. But if I didn't come to the meeting or didn't have any input, I'm not being critical, but I'm just saying if I didn't, then it's awful hard to have constructive input, and then it just turns into an argument, and that doesn't help anybody. So,
Okay.
that's my 2 cents.
That was more than that, Dwight, come on.
Maybe it was. That's a lot of money a month for the
Right.
town of Franklin.
Okay.
And how often is the town offices open up the road? I mean, and it's not like we're open every day.
No, I'm there 5 hours,
Right.
Yeah.
Mark's there 2 hours, and I don't know how much.
They're there
board's-
every
Gary's
day.
off and on,
Yeah.
But the answering machine's there 24/7.
True.
Yep.
So, important thing, we gotta communicate. I mean, we gotta have good phones.
Well, we've got it
And-
started, now we just gotta keep
Well-
going with it, instead of stop looking at it, we gotta, get, as you said, we came into that meeting not knowing what the town hall needed, not having a clue what the court needed or wanted.
Well, they knew about it.
Well, they came here to the meeting, but they didn't give you any information before that meeting.
Oh, I stopped up there and I.
Before
talked to
that
them.
or
Oh,
afterwards?
yeah, before that,
Oh,
okay. So,
Silly,
they knew
doesn't
about
the
it.
phone bill tell how many lines there is and all that information?
Well, it should, yeah, it does, but it's like, the decision has to be made at some level, not mine. I don't have to do that. I respect what they do, respect what you all do here, but again, it's gotta be laid out on the table what you want. And I don't think it's fair to say, well, I don't want this now because it's a change. I don't want this because it's a change. I don't think that defines paying that kind of a phone bill,
but,
you know?
the only one.
Makes
that
me the
really
evil
knows
one
it.
probably, but I'm sorry.
Well, I think the biggest thing is we need to find out how many lines there is.
Yep.
That are truly needed, how the system's gonna work, and go out and do some shopping,
That's exactly what I mean.
and see what can be provided to us as a service,
Have the numbers together and try to,
and
Figure
go
something
from,
out.
and see how far off we are.
I'm gonna call McDonald Walker tomorrow, because they've got that, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 different people you can talk, you know.
We were told, that
Yeah.
So does this
we were
school.
told in no uncertain terms that that was not acceptable for the court. You heard that.
Well,
Unless they're number one.
well,
Yeah, I mean,
that
it's
would,
just like.
that would simplify it. But, yeah, I mean, there was some
In the
flick, you know, some
fold.
You're
whatever,
eliminating
but-
me talking to people then, so we're looking for the court.
Well, no, it's a town of Franklin phone number. And it would be,
And then
one of the phone numbers has
dispatch,
gotta be a town of Franklin, whether it be the code enforcement officer, town clerk, town sheds.
Which that's not
court-
uncommon, you call some other municipalities and that's exactly how it plays
Right.
out.
And I have no issue with
Hancock's got
that,
the
and I don't
same
think
thing.
Jan has an issue with that. I think both of us do have an issue if you make us change all these numbers, and then a month later you say, you know what, we don't like this, we're gonna make you change again. Now, whoever had to change has got an issue. I think that's pretty,
Well, there was also
Easy.
discussion about then somebody was gonna have to charge the town to train everybody, and that's acceptable. I could understand that. I mean, if somebody has to be training people, that's fine, but that's why it's important to know what we want and what we don't want before we get into this.
Right.
And not get off track talking about, well, who are we gonna pay to put a hole in a wall and run a wire there?
right.
I mean, I think the discussions were, I didn't think very productive, that's my opinion.
I think we need to switch to a one phone number system, I'm all for it, with a menu,
Right.
no matter who we go with, and once we do it, we need to stay with
system.
that format.
That's right, oh, I agree.
And then it doesn't matter who it's through.
Yeah.
That's my opinion.
No, you're right, and as long as it's not $670 a month.
I mean, and they said that we could keep those numbers, but do we really want to? Once we go to that number,
No, you
whichever
don't.
one we choose.
They want their number, but again, that's not, you all have to
Yeah,
figure out how
yeah.
that's gonna work, but, again, the bottom line on it is we have to present to whoever, maybe to
Right,
multiple companies, what our needs are, or we're just
Right.
complicating it and, we'll just keep paying
No, we don't
that
get the
kind of
right,
money.
right, yeah, we don't get the accurate.
Yes, Don.
Phone trees can be a pain in the head, but also having to go to a phone book, which is almost unheard of anymore, to see if you want to call the town supervisor or you want to call the town clerk, having one number for the town does make a lot of sense for the public.
Right. I mean, it's gonna be change, which is gonna be tough on people, I mean, period, but a change, that's simplicity. It's one number, then you go through the, what do you call it?
All you have to do is listen to the directory and
Right.
figure out who you're gonna
Who
go
you,
to.
who you wanna talk
Just
to?
remember, you don't have a phone book anymore. You never see one of them.
No.
So having one number is gonna be pretty simple,
I do too.
you know.
I mean, we're pretty much the information desk here.
You are.
2211, everybody calls this number for the court, for the code officer, for the town clerk, for the tax collector. That's
Ask
the number,
Mr.
I
Crane,
mean,
he'll tell you.
now I don't answer those other phones, so maybe Don fields 100 questions about that too. I have no idea.
Yeah, it's just inevitable, whoever they get a
And it's
hold
just,
of.
whoever you choose is gonna be the lucky one, the other one's all gonna bitch, sorry. So, okay,